Hey everybody, how's it going? Today we're going to be going over and showing you how to install the MORryde X-Brace fifth wheel stabilizer system here on a 2018 Jayco Eagle Fifth Wheel. So we mentioned these braces installing in the front of the trailer. Now the reason that we're going to be seeking support for the front, because the rear of the trailer is obviously going to be a little bit more stable. Chances are we already have some jacks back there, whether they're just the scissor-type jacks or the electric stabilizing jacks. And we also have the axles and wheels to rest on. So there's definitely going to be a lot more support at the rear of the trailer than there is at the front. Therefore, adding these supports to the front, attaching them to the front landing gear legs in particular, it's really going to increase the rigidity of our trailer. We're not going to have nearly as much bucking and bouncing around, especially when we're getting in and out of bed at night. Because on the Jayco Eagle, our bedroom is actually located at the front of the trailer. So there's a few different type of stabilizers for the front of your fifth wheel trailers here. We have the MORryde option, which is what we're showing you guys. There's also another one from Lippert called the JT Strong Arms, and those are a great product as well. They do work well. However, the biggest difference between those and the MORryde option here is going to come down to the installation. The Strong Arms are much more involved to install. They require drilling and modifications to your trailer. They're going to take you a lot more time than the MORryde kit we have here. Which brings me to my next point in regards to the installation. So the MORryde kit here, it attaches to the front landing gear legs, and it's going to offer a completely bolt-on installation. There's no modification required to the trailer whatsoever. So just some common hand tools are going to allow you to get this job done in pretty much no time and offer stability to your trailer to keep it much more stable. So another feature of the X-Braces that not all other stabilizers have, such as the JT Strong Arms, is that we can actually adjust and decrease the tension here on our landing gear legs by simply turning these bars in one direction or the other. And what this is doing is, this is essentially either bringing the feet closer together or pushing them further apart. Therefore, that adjustable tension really allows us to fine-tune our setup for the perfect mix between support and comfort. So we're actually going to be leaving these X-Braces permanently installed on the trailer. We don't actually have to remove those, although we can easily do this if we wanted to. We can actually leave these attached to the trailer. But before we do that, we want to ensure that all the components are in good working condition and they have the correct protection to withstand the elements of being outside. Everything that this kit comes with here is going to have zinc-plated hardware along with these powder-coated rods. Therefore, we're not going to have any issues with these being installed outside, subjected to the elements. They're definitely going to hold up for time to come. So there is one thing that I really want to hammer home with you guys. So we are leaving these installed, but we do need to do one critical thing before we operate the actual landing gear legs on our trailer here. And that's make sure that we have the pins removed here that secure the inner and outer rods. So in order to do that, you're going to need to loosen this outer tube here to free up the tension. And then we should be able to move our pin back and forth, and then we'll just simply remove that like so. So we obviously have one for each of these bars here. So you can see this one's a little tight. I can't quite move that out. So I'm going to spin the bar here to loosen that up. And then we should just be able to pull it or it'll fall right out. So we need to make sure that both of these lanyards are removed before we operate the landing gear legs. If we forget to take those out, we can damage the landing gear legs on the trailer as well as the X-Braces. So that is a critical step you want to make sure of each time. But there's actually a little handy reminder that gets installed where the controls are for your landing gear legs. So it's just an extra part to help you remember. So the first step of our installation, we're going to take our U-shaped bracket here that comes in our kit. We're going to be installing this into the outer tube here on our landing gear leg on either side. So we want to make sure that the threads are facing inside the trailer, but basically it's just going to slide right into position like so. And once we have the U-bolt on, we're going to take this flat spacer plate here. We're going to align them with the two holes there in our U-bolt. And then we're going to take our upper bracket here that looks like this. We're going to install that onto those two holes in the U-bolt here. Now you can see here I can't quite reach because of this cross member here, so in which case we just need to lower the U-bolt down a little bit. We want to install this as high as possible, but we obviously still need clearance here for our upper bracket. So I'll go ahead and line that up once I get it into position. and then I can move it up until I'm flush against the bottom of this cross brace. Now we will take our lock nuts, we will thread those on, and then we can tighten them down and torque them to the amount specified in our instructions. So we're going to be grabbing a 13mm socket here in order to tighten and torque those. Keep in mind, we want to alternate tightening back and forth. So now that we have the upper bracket installed, we can go ahead and install our lower bracket that looks like this. So this is going to be installing through the same hole that we use to secure the foot pad to the inner tube. So we should already have a pin there that we need to go ahead and remove. Once we get that out, we can take our lower bracket here along with our 3-inch bolt, stick that through there like so. Now we can go ahead and just stick it through that hole there, but what we need to be sure of is that the offset here for our lower bracket is opposite to the offset for our upper bracket. So the upper bracket here has the offset towards the rear, therefore the offset for the lower bracket needs to be facing the front. So we'll just simply place that over there like so. Sometimes this bracket doesn't always match up with the shape of the foot pad, in which case you would just take a hammer and lightly tap that into position so it can better conform to the shape of the metal for our foot pad. And now we'll take our lock nut here and thread it on to the other side of our bolt on the outside frame of the trailer, and then we can tighten and torque that down to the specifications in your instructions using a 14mm socket. Now the bolt head should be trapped by that bracket on the inboard side here, so you shouldn't have to worry about holding it with a wrench, but if yours does start to turn, you can obviously just pick up a wrench, grab a head of that bolt head so you can tighten and torque it properly. But once we get this side tightened and torqued down, we can just simply repeat that same process on the other side, making sure we pay attention to our offset. So now once we have all of our brackets installed, we're going to grab our cross brace here. So what we need to do is, on either side here, you're going to have a threaded portion. So we need to go ahead and make sure that we have at least 1 inch of threads showing from the outer edge of the tube here. So we got this on one side, we'll flip this over and do the same thing on the other side. You can see here we already have plenty of thread showing. And now we're ready to go ahead and set the brace onto the trailer there. The side with the bronze, or the side that has the outer tube on it, is going to be going to the top bracket, and then the side with the silver or the inner tube is going to be going to the lower bracket. So we're going to go ahead and line up our holes here, and then we can install the pin and clip. And now we can pull the bar across to the top bracket on the other side, and we'll simply just line up our holes here and insert our same pin and clip over here as well. So now once we have both sides attached here, we're going to be grabbing the inner bar, and then we're going to be spinning the outer bar until we can get 2 sets of these holes to line up. So there's going to be holes drilled into our inner bar here. There's going to be several varying points here. We're going to spin these until at least one of the holes lines up here with the hole in our outer tube, and then we can reinstall our pin and clip here. So the center one is going to be installed using the pin and clip with the lanyard pre-attached. But now once we have this bar on, we'll just repeat that same process to get our other one on. So now that we have both braces in place, you want to make sure that your cross pins here, we have a little bit of space between them. If we tried to use these holes here, they're obviously going to bind with one another when you go to spinning the bars. So just make sure that we have some distance between the two. When we do go to tighten the bars, we're not going to be hitting on one another. But now, as we said, we can go ahead and tighten the system up to engage it. So we're just going to grab this upper bar here. So we're going to be tightening it with the upper bar on either side, the outer tube if you will. And basically, we're just going to be spinning this to increase or decrease tension. So if you ever forget which way is which, basically what I've been doing is I've just been looking at the feet there, and you can actually see them moving in or out depending on which way you're spinning the bar. So if I spin it this way, this is actually decreasing tension, so it's pulling the feet in. We don't want it to do that. We want it to actually push the feet out. Therefore, we're going to spin the bar this way, and I can see the bar pushing the feet out, increasing tension. So we want to tighten this up pretty much as we can get with our hand here before it becomes too much. And then another quarter turn and then we're good. We'll just simply repeat that same process for our other bar here. And that's going to do it today for our look and installation of the MORryde X-Brace stabilizer system for fifth wheel trailers here on our 2018 Jayco Eagle.